gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. There we go. That's my theme tune.
Amazing.
Good afternoon, Glen Foster. How the devil are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well indeed.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me. Wow, you've had an incredible few months, haven't you, sir?
It's been busy. Yeah. It's been pretty busy, but good busy, right? Like, so new challenges, new opportunities are always fun.
Excellent. Well, so we all know you from zero. You were employee number 1, number 2. I don't know how you worked that out, but yeah, you were there right at the beginning when they were giving out Blackberries. You just said.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit further. I think number 6 or so, number 6 or 7 in the UK. But that first kind of group, I think, as we kind of set up and like try to start to build the business out, right, and recruit some accountants and some business owners. So, and yes, my first exchange of IT equipment and my induction was the MD at the time, Gary, meeting me at a McDonald's at about 8 p.m. on a Sunday evening, dropping me off a MacBook and a BlackBerry.
Fantastic. And for those people who are a little bit younger, a BlackBerry was a device you used instead of a mobile phone, instead of a smartphone. It was the smartphone of its day. But yeah, amazing. So Glen, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to now.
Yeah, so look, I've joined a company called Libeo, so predominantly supplier payments and approval workflows. Like the idea being that for businesses, like actually that ability to bulk pay supplier invoices and centralize them has been a real challenge and time consuming. And like Libeo as a business, like founded in France a couple of years ago, we've now launched properly into the UK to help, I think, like address some of those challenges that businesses have, and with a real niche as well into the hospitality sector, which like, I know a couple of our co-founders are particularly passionate about, and it's a sector that's gone through a pretty rough couple of years with the pandemic. So I like the idea when we think about purpose, right, of being able to work within a sector where hopefully we can make a real difference and take away some of the bureaucracy and the invoicing, and really supporting hospitality businesses to grow their businesses and cafes and restaurants.
No, I lost you a little bit there, but yeah, you're talking about the hospitality sector. So give us a breakdown of what it is that the software actually does in layman's terms, because I need to understand, please.
Yeah, so you get your data in there in a couple of ways. Either you like upload it, so you drag it and drop it in there, like so your supplier invoices, or it will integrates with the likes of Sage and QuickBooks and Xero, so you pull your invoices directly out of those products. They land in Libeo. You may need them approving by somebody else. So, for example, if you're an accountant doing bookkeeping and you want to do the payments on behalf of the client, then you may need to request approval from the client. So you do that within the app and they get an email. The same for business owner. It might be that I'm a restaurateur and I need the head chef to approve the invoice for the kitchen. So I request approval from them. They go in and approve it. I get notified that they're happy with it and they want the invoice paid. I can then go and either through open banking, I can pay and kind of do that pretty instantly, or through Libeo's own technology, kind of one-click payments. I'm able to go and pay bulk invoices really efficiently and really quickly, which hopefully means I can maintain really good supplier relationships, also get a good handle on my cash flow. So I think that approval process and payment functionality, they're two key pillars towards maintaining good cash flow practices.
No, fantastic. And so for those accountants and bookkeepers that are doing payments for their clients, this is just going to save so much time, Glen.
Yeah, there's definitely some real innovation here, and it's innovation, I think, based on the fact that technology didn't allow you to do this years ago. A bit like when bank feeds arrived, right? Everyone would have loved bank feeds, but the technology wasn't there to allow it to be a thing. at that point. So yeah, with open banking and like with other technology and the ability to cross-border payments, I think that the tech is all there now to embed into a product to really add value. And accountants have been doing, I think, payments on behalf of clients for quite a while, but it's pretty laborious. It's actually pretty risky in some cases because there's some fairly scary practices going on in the way it's delivered. And actually being able to give accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners a tool that just makes this risk-free, secure, easy to do, and efficient, I think is a great opportunity.
Oh, fantastic. And so you're starting again like you did with Xero. So how many of you are in the UK at the moment?
I am the managing director of Me at the minute.
Fantastic.
So, we are hiring. There's about 135 what we call Libyans in Paris who are giving me lots and lots of support. Definitely the 1 hour time difference for Paris to London is much nicer than that New Zealand time difference I had previously.
Yeah,
so I'm making
absolutely.
the most of being in the same time zone as most of my colleagues.
Fantastic. And I guess the trip to head office is quite easy nowadays rather than it would have taken forever, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that Eurostar of kind of 2 hours and 15 minutes versus a 24-hour flight is pretty refreshing.
We don't want to be doing that. So you say you're hiring. What are you looking for, and how do people apply?
Yeah, at the minute we're looking for some people to join the sales team. Really, people that are passionate about small and medium businesses, passionate about accountants and the fintech industry and bookkeepers too, because there's two channels to our market. One is obviously like I said, we're quite big in the hospitality, and also likes of medical technology is big for us as well. So we're focused on some key vertical sectors as we're talking to businesses, but equally that accountant and bookkeeper channel is important to us. Firstly, because they support lots of those customers. Secondly, because we know that with outsourcing or internal bookkeeping, there's lots of accountants who are either doing or want to do this service. So yeah, we're looking for people passionate about all of that stuff that can come in and start to build our UK culture. Just like the big attraction of joining Libeo was the people and the culture. It reminds me of early stage Xero. It excited me, and we want to replicate and build that same culture and the way that we work internally, but equally the way that we work with our customers.
Oh, fantastic. And with your track record, it's perfect man for the job. So that's absolutely superb. So I've got a few questions, but while we're talking about your launch and everything that's going on here, is Accountex is coming up, but it's like 4 weeks away, isn't it? Are you guys going to be there?
We are. It's kind of our unofficial launch. We've done a few events so far, but this will be the first one that I'm obviously on board for, and we're really landing. So yeah, look, we are excited. We're sponsoring the Accountants in Practice Theatre there, and we've got a couple of sessions already set up, one with App Advisory Plus and Will Farnell to talk about the evolution of cloud accounting. And then we've got a couple of our sessions, and one with our CEO, actually, who's a phenomenal guy. So it'd be great for people to get along and listen to Pierre talk.
No, that's superb. It had to be called Pierre, didn't he?
It's the David of France, right?
Absolutely superb. I wouldn't expect anything less. And you'll be wearing that lovely bright orange t-shirt then, sir. I love it. What a great colour. I
am. You won't miss me.
Super duper. Everyone wants to know. This is the key thing for Accountex. What are the giveaways then? What are you doing? Is it water bottles this year? Is it socks?
I'm not sure actually. I've left that with Jasmine and our team. I think we try to be as sustainable as we can. So we're trying to steer clear of plastic, but equally we know that Accountex is an event, and all of the expos, right? Like people love a giveaway, so I'm sure we'll come up with something pretty cool, and hopefully a little bit French as well.
Yeah, no, perfect. Oh yeah, croissant and coffee. That would be just absolutely.
And if you can, I'm not sure if you can brand a croissant, but I know Jasmine will give it a good go, because if it sits still for too long, she tends to stick a Libeo logo on it.
Fantastic. Okay, so how long have you been working with accountants and bookkeepers, Glenn?
So probably like 15, 16 years. So my career started with MYOB and then CCH, selling like practice software. And then, like 12 and a half years ago, moved over to Xero. And that's where I'd spent like kind of the remainder of my career in that last 12 years.
Yeah, and the thing is, once you get into that sphere, it's really difficult to leave it, isn't it? It's just I just love working with accountants and bookkeepers. So yeah, they're brilliant. So what challenges are you seeing accountants and bookkeepers having at the moment, Glenn?
I don't think things have changed enormously in the last like 5 or 6 years. It's like every business has kind of become a tech business to a certain degree. So it's how do they like evolve, and like because if you go back 10 years, like if you're in an accounting firm, you were typically an accountant, a partner, a receptionist, secretary. Now it's like there's this whole ecosystem around it of clients expect more from their accountant. They want support around technology, and like we're seeing more and more of that. And like, Libby is a good example of that, right? It's just another tech product to the ecosystem that's really difficult to navigate. Like the Xero ecosystem will have 1,000 apps. The Intuit and Sage ones will not be dissimilar. So it's like there's a job involved there of how do I decide which products are right for my clients. And I think identifying that is a big challenge, and different to the normal challenges, right? Of hiring talent, which is always a problem, and making tax digital, right? Of migrating and moving clients onto software when they may not want to move onto it. There's all of the normal challenges, but the one that kind of interests me the most, I think, is how do we support, or how does like the industry of software providers support accountants and bookkeepers to help clients fix their back office, because that's what they value. Right, like they assume that a tax return and a set of accounts can be done by every accountant. But if you can give them back like 10 hours a week for where they used to do their supplier invoices and make that easier, then like, they're going to love you for that. Like that is real value, and I think that's a problem that we'd love to fix, and I think the software industry as a whole would like to address.
No, I love that. So that's the answer to the next question, is how you can actually help them. Richard's just come up with a perfect one. Hi Richard, how are you? Best giveaways, free advice. Yeah, all companies have in effect become tech companies. Absolutely. I don't know if you read They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. He does a lot of talk about giving advice to people, so that they see you as a thought leader, they see you as an expert in your industry, and he talks about businesses becoming video companies, and every business should have a videographer and stuff like that, which is perfect news for Richard. But yeah, we are evolving. People expect to see video, people expect this, they expect that. I wrote a blog this morning all about emails. I don't know if you get it so much yourself, but a lot of accountants and bookkeepers I speak to, they get sent an email, and then 10-15 minutes later they get a phone call. Did you get my email? What are we doing about it? And you're sort of like, no, it doesn't have to be like that. So that was my blog today. So what's your top tip that you could give accountants and bookkeepers?
So you probably expect me to say this, but I think the key thing, the thing I saw accounting and bookkeeping practices do really well at Xero was like use the software providers to their advantage. I think we've moved away from this era where software companies are just trying to sell software, because most of it is recurring month by month billing. So I think like to address the problem I spoke about before of identifying tech, it's like how do you use the Libeos or the Xeros or the Intuits, QuickBooks, Sages of this world to help get insight into what the industry is doing, what other practices are doing, and how you can utilize technology. So that would be my top tip.
Yeah, no, and that was one of the things that I used to do when I was at Digita, is really help my customers get the most from the software. And so are you saying that whatever software product I'm using, I need to speak to support and really understand how it works best?
Yeah, I think just use the people within that business. So like your example there, right, is that if you hire the right people, they're not just trying to sell software. Actually, what they're trying to do is fix problems, which I think is what good salespeople, good account managers, like that's what interests them and what drives them. And there's lots of gold to be had by like actually engaging with somebody that's probably sat in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of accounting and bookkeeping firms, and has some knowledge of the kind of things that work well. Often you'll find people maybe like they don't engage too much because they think that they're dealing with somebody in sales, and actually what you're dealing with is a free consultant. And I know the best people we had at Xero, I'd go road tripping with them, and they'd have like 3 or 4 phone calls a day from their accounting partners, not to ask them anything about Xero, like to ask them about someone else in the ecosystem or another challenge that they might have, and they trusted their opinion. And I think that's, if you can get that relationship between accountant and bookkeeper and someone within those software businesses, then there's lots of untapped free support, hopefully. And I think one of the gentlemen earlier mentioned about free advice, and I think that's the key bit. That's free consulting, right? To be able to give you that support and help.
Yeah, when I'm working with bookkeepers and accountants, I always say, phone your account manager or find out who your account manager is, because they've got a vested interest in you doing good stuff on this software. Mm-hmm. And I think people forget that. And the way with technology is as well nowadays. If you ring up and say, "Oh, how do I do this? How do I do that?" The person at the other end of the phone or on the email or what have you can quickly do a Loom video and send you exactly what you need ever so quickly, and then that goes out to everybody else that's using it, and we're all doing better. Darren's got something to say here. Good afternoon, Darren. How are you? Good vendors are there to help you share insights and not just say absolutely, Darren. And that's the thing. And the other thing is these people working at Libeo, for example, they are talking to other businesses exactly like yours. So they know what sort of things are coming and going and what things work, what things don't. So no, absolutely a top advice there. So what's your best story then, how you've helped an accountant and bookkeeper, Glenn?
Yeah, look, I find it difficult to pick out an individual story, but the bit that I think I've always found really rewarding, and as I decided to move on from Xero, it was looking at some of the firms that had started out with Xero. Like there's a firm that I met for a cup of coffee back in 2011, 2012, I think, called Chaddesley Sanford now, and they're now a Xero Platinum partner and run a phenomenal practice. And I think just being a part of that journey and seeing from just having a coffee in a mutual location where there was no real business there at the minute, to actually the work that Matt and then Edward had done as they grow that business is phenomenal. So it was just great to see those stories of new accounting practices being born in the cloud, because that barrier to acquiring technology was removed. You didn't have to pay a fortune. You didn't need a server. You didn't need all of that stuff that you needed before, and you could start off a practice with your first 5 or 10, 15 clients, and then build it up. And then lots of firms stay at that level, but the guys at Chaddesley Sanford didn't. They just they rocketed and continued to grow. And now I think multiple offices, lots and lots of staff, and have built a phenomenal cloud only based practice. And that's really kind of rewarding to see other people doing really, really well, because they've used hopefully the technology and the guidance and the support that I and the Xero team would have given over the time.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's embracing the tools that are around to help you. You wouldn't see a builder come around to your house to I don't know, install a kitchen and use manual tools. He'd have an electric saw, he'd have an electric router, he'd have an electric drill. And if he turned up with all the old manual stuff, remember those old planes that you used at woodwork? Imagine him turning up with that. You go, oh my goodness, what are we doing? But there's so many businesses out there that won't use the technology. That's the trouble. I can see this thing going now. Richard's got this challenge. He's going to make an interesting video about tax. So I look forward to seeing that, Richard. Maybe you and Anne should have a show together or something. So who is Jasmine then? You need to let us know who Jasmine is.
Yeah, Jasmine's the brains behind international expansion. I think I'm the face in the orange T-shirt, but the actual brains are Jasmine. So she's been leading international expansion, which is predominantly the UK at the minute, for quite a few months now. So yeah, is my right hand woman at the minute to make sure that we land well. Fantastic. So she's pulling the strings, is that right? I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Absolutely not at all. How can people get hold of you, or how can they see Libeo? Obviously, do you have the stand number that they can come and find you and get these croissants at Accountex? Not off the top of my head. I'm hoping Jasmine might pop into the chat somewhere. But I'm in bright orange, so you'll struggle not to see us at Accountex. But yes, we'll be at Accountex. We'll be at the Digital Accountancy Show. We're on the road with 2020 Group. We did the hotel and restaurant show at Excel a couple of weeks ago. So look, we're everywhere at the minute, and that's the goal. Like my goal for the next 3 months is to make sure that there's not an accountant or bookkeeper who doesn't know what Libeo does, or how we can support. So yeah, we're all over the place at the minute, but you'll find me on LinkedIn here, on Twitter, and look, if you want to drop me an email and set up time to chat, it's just glen@libeo.io.
Fantastic. And there's Jasmine's given us a link there as well. So thanks ever so much. It's Stand 180. So for all you darts fans out there, that is 180. We can't miss you. We cannot miss you. So absolutely looking forward to seeing you there. So I've got one more question before we go. Glen, thank you so much for coming along and sharing your stuff. So when you were at primary school, right, and you're a little boy, and did you know what you wanted to be, and what did you plan to be when you grew up?
Yeah, I think I was probably the same as every little boy at that age, right? I wanted to be the centre forward for a Premier League football team. The problem is I'm a Crystal Palace fan, so that was where I wanted to play. That was the goal. Although interestingly, at that age, you do some of those like computer tests, right? That tell you what you fill in a questionnaire, it tells you what you should be, and it came out with gardener. I think they called it horticultural worker, but yeah, came out with a gardener, which, you know what, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, felt mad. Now I've got quite a passion for getting out and doing a bit of gardening. So it's gone full circle. So maybe when I retire, there's an opportunity for me to pick up a bit of a freelance gardening work.
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely love that. Super duper. Hey, Crystal Palace's loss is our gain. Glen, thank you so much for being a guest today. Lovely to see you. Jasmine, thanks for dropping all those things in there, and thanks to all our lovely people watching and all their things to say. So thank you very much indeed. We will see you again next week. Thanks ever so much indeed. Cheerio.